My hands were shaking as I stood in front of those glass doors. Hansung Corporation. 47 floors of steel and secrets. And somewhere up there, behind one of those windows, was the man who destroyed my life. Mommy, why are we here? I looked down at my daughter Mia, her almond-shaped eyes, his eyes, staring up at me with innocent curiosity. Next to her, my son Elijah gripped my hand tighter, always the protective one, even at 4 years old. We're here to meet someone very important. Baby, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. The security guard at the desk looked up as we approached. His eyes widened. Miss Thompson? Maya Thompson? I nodded. I'm here to see Mr. Park Jin-woo. He's expecting me. That was a lie. Jin-woo had no idea I was coming. No idea that in about 5 minutes, his perfectly controlled world was about to shatter into a million pieces. The guard picked up his phone, never taking his eyes off my children. I knew what he was seeing. I'd seen it in every mirror, every photograph for the past 4 years. These babies looked exactly like their father. Sir, there's a situation in the lobby. It's Maya Thompson. She has children with her. I watched the color drain from his face as he listened to whatever response came through that phone. Yes, sir. Right away. He hung up and gestured toward the elevators. Top floor. He'll see you now. Before I tell you what happened next, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button because today's story is heavy. This is about betrayal, secrets, and what happens when the truth refuses to stay buried. It's about a woman who lost everything and had to rebuild herself from scratch, only to face the man who broke her when she had no other choice. Drop a like if you're ready for this journey, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. Now, let me take you back to where it all began 4 years ago. When I was young, ambitious, and naive enough to believe that hard work and professionalism could protect me from anything. I remember my first day at Hansung Corporation like it was yesterday. 24 years old, fresh MBA from Columbia, ready to conquer the world. I'd beaten out 300 candidates for the position of executive assistant to the CEO. Me, a black girl from Atlanta with more ambition than sense. Miss Thompson. Mr. Park will see you now. I walked into that office with my head high, my notebook clutched against my chest like armor. Park Jin-woo sat behind a massive mahogany desk, his suit probably worth more than my entire wardrobe. He was 32 then, the youngest CEO in Hansung's history, known for being brilliant and absolutely ruthless. He didn't look up immediately, just kept signing documents with practiced precision. Your resume is impressive, he said in English, his accent subtle but present. Columbia MBA. Fluent in Korean, Mandarin, and Japanese. 3 years at Goldman Sachs. Tell me, Miss Thompson, why would someone with your credentials want to be an assistant? I met his eyes. Then, dark, intense, completely unreadable. Because I want to learn from the best, Mr. Park. You restructured 4 failing companies before you turned 30. I don't want to just work in business. I want to understand how power moves at the highest level. The corner of his mouth twitched. Not quite a smile, but close. You'll work longer hours than you've ever worked. I expect perfection. I don't accept excuses, and I don't tolerate mistakes. Do you understand? Yes, sir. Good. You start tomorrow. 6 a.m. sharp. That was it. That was the beginning. The first 6 months were brutal. Jin-woo wasn't lying about the hours. I was in the office before sunrise and rarely left before 9 at night. But I loved it. I loved the challenge. The pace. The way my brain had to work 3 steps ahead, just to keep up with him. Maya, I need the Daejeon contract revised by noon. Done, sir. I also took the liberty of flagging 3 clauses that might conflict with the new labor laws. He looked up from his computer, actually surprised. You read ahead? I always read ahead. Something shifted after that. He started trusting me with more confidential negotiations, sensitive information, strategy sessions where I was the only assistant in the room. The other executives hated it. A black woman, foreign. In their inner circle? I heard the whispers, felt the stares. But Jin-woo never treated me as anything other than competent. He was cold. Yes. Demanding. Absolutely. But fair. Miss Thompson. His secretary. Jennifer whispered to me one afternoon. The staff is impressed. You've lasted longer than any of his previous assistants. How many has he had? 7. In 2 years. I worked harder after that. Determined to be the one who stayed. We developed a rhythm, Jin-woo and I. I learned to read his moods from the way he signed his name. Learned that he took his coffee black with 1 sugar when he was stressed, straight black when he was angry. Learned that he stayed latest on Thursdays because that's when his mother called. I tried not to notice other things, like the way his jaw clenched when the board mentioned marriage, the way he went rigid whenever someone brought up heirs and succession, the way he looked, sometimes powerful and untouchable, but desperately, achingly, alone. You're staring, Miss Thompson. I jumped, caught. We were alone in his office, well past midnight, preparing for a merger negotiation. I'm sorry, sir. I was just thinking about nothing. It's not my place. He set down his pen and actually looked at me. For maybe the first time in 10 months. You think I don't notice? How hard you work. How you anticipate what I need before I ask? You're the best assistant I've ever had, Maya. You can speak freely. Maya. Not Miss Thompson. It was the first time he'd used my first name. I was thinking that you seem tired, sir. Not physically. Just tired of something. He laughed. But there was no humor in it. Perceptive. Yes. I'm tired. Tired of expectations. Tired of being the perfect son, the perfect CEO, the perfect heir to a legacy I never asked for. Then why do it? Because it's all I know how to be. That conversation stayed with me. Haunted me. Actually. Because I saw behind the mask for just a moment, and what I saw wasn't a cold CEO. It was a man suffocating under the weight of everyone else's dreams. It happened on a Thursday. Of course it did. I should have gone home. It was past 11, and the merger documents were finalized. But Jin-woo was still in his office, and the lights were on, and something felt wrong. I knocked. Mr. Park? Is everything all right? No answer. I knocked again and opened the door slightly. Jin-woo sat in his chair. A bottle of whiskey on the desk. His tie loosened, looking more undone than I'd ever seen him. You should go home, Maya. His voice was rough, broken. What happened? My engagement was announced today. To the Lee family's daughter. My mother arranged it 6 months ago. I found out from a press release. He poured another glass, his hands unsteady. Do you know what it's like to have your entire life planned out without your consent? To be nothing more than a breeding stallion for a legacy? I should have left. I know that now. But I walked in instead and closed the door. Sir, you're drunk. Let me call your driver. No. He looked up at me, and God, the pain in his eyes. Do you want to know the best part? The cruelest joke? My fiancé wants children immediately. An heir, and I... He laughed bitterly. I can't give her that. I can't give anyone that. I froze. What do you mean? I mean, I'm impotent, Maya. Oh. Everything works fine. But children? Impossible. I've seen every doctor. Traditional medicine, Western medicine. It doesn't matter. My body simply won't cooperate. His drink. So they'll marry me off to some woman who'll eventually discover her husband is defective, and the great Hansong legacy will die with me. Mr. Park, you're not defective. Aren't I? In my family, in this world, if you can't produce heirs, what good are you? I sat down across from him, completely out of my depth. You're more than your ability to have children. You've built something incredible here. That's your legacy. You don't understand. You can't understand. Then help me understand. We talked for hours. Or rather, he talked, and I listened. About the pressure, the expectations, the parade of women his mother presented, the medical appointments, the shame. He poured out years of pain, and I sat there, watching this powerful man crumble. At some point, he poured me a drink, then another. The room got hazy. Warm. You're the only one who sees me as a person, he said quietly. Not a title, not a bank account. Just me. That's because you are a person, Jinwoo, just a person. His hand covered mine on the desk. Thank you, Maya, for listening, for staying. After that, everything gets blurry. I remember his office couch. Remember the smell of his cologne. Remember thinking this was wrong. We shouldn't. But also feeling something shift between us. Something that had maybe been building for months. I remember falling asleep, and I remember waking up, the morning after. The sunlight streaming through the office windows hit me like a slap. I was on Jinwoo's office couch, my blouse wrinkled, my skirt twisted, my head pounded. And Jinwoo stood by the window, fully dressed in a fresh suit, looking at me with an expression I'd never seen before, cold and distant, like I was a stranger. Mr. Park. What? What happened? You should go home. Miss Thompson. Take the day off, Miss Thompson. Back to formality. Like a door slamming shut. I sat up, trying to piece together the gaps in my memory. Did we? Nothing happened that requires discussion. You had too much to drink. You fell asleep. I worked through the night. That's all. But his eyes wouldn't meet mine, and I knew my own body. I knew something had happened, even if I couldn't remember the details. Jinwoo, please, I said, go home. His voice was ice. I have meetings. I gathered my things with shaking hands and left. Walked past Jennifer's desk, past the morning staff filtering in, seeing their curious glances. Everyone knew I'd been there all night. Everyone would assume the worst. Or maybe the truth. The next 2 weeks were torture. Jinwoo avoided me. Suddenly, every task went through Jennifer. Every meeting excluded me. When we did have to interact, he was professionally cordial and emotionally absent. I told myself it was fine, that we'd crossed a line, and now we were stepping back. That I should be grateful to still have my job. Then I missed my period. Then I took a test. Then I took 5 more tests. All positive. I was pregnant, and according to Jinwoo himself, that was impossible. I waited until late evening, until the office emptied out. Then I walked into his office, without knocking. We need to talk. Jinwoo looked up, annoyed. Miss Thompson, if this is about the new project assignments, I'm pregnant. The silence was deafening. He stared at me like I'd spoken a foreign language. Then his expression hardened. Excuse me? I'm pregnant. And before you say anything? Yes. I'm sure. And no, there's no one else. There hasn't been anyone else in over a year. He stood up slowly, his face a mask of fury. So, what exactly are you implying? I'm not implying anything. I'm telling you that I'm pregnant, And that night in your office is the only time I've been with anyone. That's impossible. Apparently not. His hands clenched into fists on his desk. I told you, in confidence, about my condition. And now you're trying to, what? Trap me? Is this some kind of scheme? The accusation hit me like a, physical blow. A scheme? Are you serious right now? I told you I can't have children. Medical fact. So either you're lying about the timeline, or you're lying about there being no one else. Either way, this child is not mine. It can't be. Tears burned in my eyes. I'm not lying about any of it. Then I don't know what to tell you, Miss Thompson. But this conversation is over. He pressed his intercom. Jennifer, please get HR on the line. What are you doing? What I should have done the morning after you threw yourself at me. You're being transferred. Effective immediately. I didn't throw myself at you. You were drunk. You were vulnerable. I don't even remember. Exactly. You don't remember. How convenient. His eyes were chips of ice. Sign the transfer papers, take the severance package, and we'll all move forward. Unless you want this to get ugly. I wanted to scream, to throw something, to make him see reason. But I saw it clearly, then he'd already decided. In his mind, I was either a liar or a gold digger. Maybe both. Fine, I said, my voice breaking. I'll sign your papers. I'll take your money. But one day, you're going to see this child, and you're going to know the truth. Get out of my office. I left Seoul 3 days later. Left Korea entirely. Flew back to Atlanta with a severance check and a broken heart, carrying a truth no one believed. The elevator doors opened on the 47th floor. I'd played this moment in my head 1,000 times. What I'd say. How I'd stand. How I'd look him in the eye and make him see what he'd refused to see 4 years ago. But nothing prepared me for actually seeing him again. Jin-woo stood in the center of his office, framed by floor-to-ceiling windows, the Seoul skyline behind him. He looked older, harder, more powerful, somehow, and more alone. Maya. My name sounded strange in his mouth after all this time. Jin-woo. I walked forward, keeping Mia and Elijah slightly behind me. Thank you for seeing us. His eyes flickered to the children, then away, like he couldn't bear to look. Why are you here? Why do you think I'm here? If this is about money, look at them. My voice cut through his, sharp, demanding. Stop being a coward and look at them. He finally did. He looked at Mia and Elijah for the first time. Mia, with her thick black hair and almond eyes. Elijah, with his serious expression, and Jin-woo's exact nose. Both of them staring up at this stranger with curiosity and confusion. I watched Jin-woo's face go white, watched his throat work as he swallowed, watched his carefully constructed walls crack. They look, he couldn't finish the sentence. Like you? Yeah. Everyone says that. I pulled out my phone, opened the photo gallery. Here's Mia, on her 2nd birthday. See that expression? That's your, I'm annoyed but too polite to say it face. And Elijah, watch this. I showed him a video of Elijah organizing his toys by size and color. His little face serious and focused. That's you. That's literally you. My voice shook. I've spent 4 years raising miniature versions of you. Jin-woo. 4 years alone because you called me a liar. I told you I couldn't. I know what you told me. And I'm telling you that either you were wrong, or you lied, or something else happened that night that neither of us remembers clearly. But these children exist. Your DNA exists in them. So what now? He sat down heavily in his chair, looking suddenly exhausted. What do you want, Maya? I want the truth about that night. I want to know what really happened. Because I've spent 4 years feeling crazy, feeling like maybe I did misremember. Maybe I am a liar. But then I look at my babies, and I know they're yours. You could have come back sooner. The audacity. You threw me out. You accused me of trying to trap you. You had HR intimidate me into signing papers. What part of that says, please come back with the children? Mia tugged on my sleeve. Mommy, why are you yelling? I took a breath, centered myself. I'm sorry. Baby, Mommy's just talking to an old friend. Is he our daddy? Elijah asked, his voice clear and direct. You said we were meeting our daddy. The silence in that office could have crushed diamonds. Jinwoo's eyes met mine. Answer him, I said quietly. Tell my son whether or not you're his father. Before Jinwoo could respond, his office door burst open. Jinwoo. I heard she was here. I came as fast as. The woman who entered was elegant, 60-ish, dripping in Chanel. Jinwoo's mother. I recognized her from the company photos and society pages. She stopped dead when she saw the children. Her hand flew to her mouth. Her knees buckled. Jinwoo jumped up. Jinwoo. Jinwoo. Oma! But she wasn't looking at him. She was staring at Mia and Elijah, her face cycling through shock, recognition, and something else. Wonder. Desperate. Painful wonder. Those eyes, she whispered in Korean. Those are Hansong eyes. Those are my husband's eyes. My son's eyes. Then she fainted. End of episode. 1. To be continued. If you made it this far, drop a comment telling me what you think happened that night. Was Jinwoo lying? Was someone else involved? And what do you think his mother meant by Hanseong eyes? Hit that subscribe button because episode 2 is going to blow your mind. Trust me, the truth is darker than you think. I'll see you in the next one.